Hey everyone, welcome to The Zest, the official podcast of Orange Coast Magazine. I'm Chelsea Rainieri, and today's guest is the co-founder and marketing director of the Costa Mesa-based towel brand Slowtide, which has been featured in magazines including Rolling Stone, Forbes, Vogue, and several times in Orange Coast. Since starting in 2015, the company has expanded to include ponchos, blankets, bathrobes, and more. Thank you so much for being here today, Dario Phillips.
Thanks, Chelsea. It's great to be here.
Awesome. I literally remember when Slowtide came out, and I can't believe it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about that. It's crazy how fast time flies by. It's been a wild ride, a lot of learnings, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been very much a fan since the early days, so I've been very excited for this.
Awesome. Did you grow up in Costa Mesa? Are you local to that zone?
I did. I grew up in Huntington Beach, but I lived in Costa Mesa for a little bit, so I've driven by that. Are your headquarters still right next to Country Club?
Yeah, on 17th Street there.
Yeah, exactly. So I've driven by there many times.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you grew up in Canada, and I was reading that as a kid, you would sell baseball cards and things like that. So it seems like entrepreneurship kind of is in your blood. Were your parents entrepreneurs, or what kind of sparked that in you?
Yeah, my parents were both entrepreneurs. I grew up with a really big family, 5 brothers and 1 sister in Vancouver. Wow. And it was always kind of instilled in me, entrepreneurship. I mean, my dad used to take us to garage sales, probably on weekends, on Sundays, and he'd actually he'd find out what the price of something was and give us less, to figure out negotiating skills a little bit less. And like, hey, can you make this deal happen? Can you make it happen? And it kind of sparked interest into like how to start a business, what people want, product market fit. But yeah, we used to buy packs of baseball cards in like the 24 pack and sell them one by one. But yeah, it's always been from a young age, entrepreneurship was definitely promoted, and an exciting thing to do with your siblings.
Yeah, the negotiation part, I wish that my parents had talked to me about that, because I'll go to like the Long Beach flea market now, and I'm just like, name your price, I'll just give you whatever you want. Like,
Totally. Yeah, the walk away tactic of like, here's the cash, or take it or leave it. I'm going to walk away.
Yeah, I need to try that. But I also read that you got into DJing when you were going into college. Is that right?
Yeah, so I went to school in Montreal in Eastern Canada, and paid for my own education, was really into like 90s hip hop and funk and soul, and would DJ at a lot of the nights. And that kind of paid for my education, but also, just learned a lot and made a lot of great friends, met a lot of really cool people, and then actually ended up moving from Montreal, finishing school and moving to New York City for a while, and then venturing off to Europe after that. I always grew up kind of doing a lot of skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, action sports has revolved around my life for a long time. And Barcelona was like the mecca for skateboarding. So that's what drew me over there.
No way. I didn't know that. I have a friend who's like a professional skater, and I didn't know about Barcelona. That's so cool.
Yeah, just beautiful, like Gaudi architecture, like marble, everything, the laid back vibes of just a culture. Anything goes over there. So yeah, it was very welcoming.
That's awesome. Were you DJing over there too?
No, I was actually mainly skateboarding and really just traveling to different countries, and just being young and free.
My husband has like a fantasy of being a DJ in another life, and his version of that is just hogging the aux cord in this life. But do you have any favorite memories of DJing, or like what is it like doing that? It seems like so much fun and so much energy.
Yeah, you get a lot of energy from the crowd if you get the right songs going, especially like having throwbacks that you grew up listening to as well. And just like, just that feeling you get from making the dance floor go wild and getting people together. It's a lot of fun. Some of the clubs I played pianos in the Lower East Side in New York, which is pretty cool. And different venues in Montreal. But I would say I was good at selecting the music, but I wouldn't say I was like a world-class professional DJ. It was more of a part-time hobby turned into a lot of fun. But
that's so cool. Yeah. So tell me about Stay Local Maps. I thought this idea was just like genius that you came up with.
Yeah. So when I was living in Barcelona and traveling around Europe, I saw a lot of really unique map companies that were showing tourists like myself, like where to go, where the cool cafes were, where the cool bars were, where the cool boutique shops are. And being from Vancouver, prior to the 2010 Olympics that happened in Vancouver, I was like, oh, there's going to be all these tourists and new people coming to explore my city I grew up in. What a better way to like take this concept that I learned about in Barcelona and bring it to Canada, back to Vancouver. And we found all the best cafes, restaurants, parks, and created a map with a couple friends and sold advertising on the back and had a really unique creative design for it. And did that right before the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver. It did super well. And that actually I transitioned from starting that company to working at a skateboard lifestyle publication called Color Magazine, which was really cool. And that actually spearheaded my like action sports career and getting hired at Quiksilver. So it kind of like all funneled in like the maps to the skate publication to Quiksilver. And I was running all the marketing in Quiksilver Canada for about 3 years. And then I was moved down to the US to the headquarters in Huntington Beach, which was a huge experience and a great opportunity for me. I mean, in Canada, you kind of hit your cap in like action sports in the marketing career. And obviously California and the US is just the center and the hub of it all. So it was really exciting to have the opportunity to get down there.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I've mentioned this a couple of times in this podcast, but I interned at Quiksilver for a couple of years, and I've interviewed the founders of Beak Shoes and then the founder of Muse Society, who also all worked at Quiksilver. And the founders of Beak had said Bob McKnight was really passionate and encouraging of his staff to also become entrepreneurs themselves. Do you have a theory of why Quiksilver was like this incubator for entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I mean, Quiksilver, Roxy, DC, Board Riders was such a huge conglomerate, and like before their time too, like had a lot of like the start of the action sports industry. And one of my mentors, who actually lives in Costa Mesa, Tom Holbrook, who is Bob McKnight's right-hand man, he was the first sales guy for Quiksilver. He really just installed so many great learnings in terms of how important relationships are, face-to-face communication, and you have these relationships for the rest of your career. Even people that I worked with 20 years ago at Quiksilver, I'm still dealing with them today on a day-to-day, and it's a small industry, a small circle we all live in. So it's really important to treat people with respect and have that like face-to-face connection. As we move so much more into like a digital world, it's super important for that. But I think Quiksilver, I mean, there's a lot of interesting ideas, and they definitely encouraged it. I think you also like once you work for a company like that, you see the opportunities, like how big they got, and you're like, oh, they did that. Like I can do this. There's an opportunity there.
Yeah, you see that it can actually be done and be done well.
Totally.
And that's where you met Slowtide's co-founders, Kyle and Wiley.
Yeah. So when I actually moved down to California, Kyle was my first roommate. A friend of mine introduced, I'm like, hey, I'm moving to Costa Mesa. I need to live somewhere. And Kyle was actually DC design director. So Board Riders own Quiksilver and DC. And I was marketing director at Quiksilver and he was design director. And we became pretty fast friends. He shortly thereafter moved back to Hawaii, where he's from. And I met my third partner Wiley just around Costa Mesa, house parties, music festivals. And it was really awesome to connect with them. And we always kind of just talked about doing something together. Both Wiley and Kyle are super creative and come more from a product design aspect, and I'm more on the business marketing side of things. So we had a lot of like-minded similarities in terms of music and our passion for surfing. And it was actually Kyle's wife, Alana, who really kind of was talking about the idea of towels originally and was like, hey, there's like all we see in the marketplace are these logo towels. There isn't really like art-inspired, art-driven products out there and different textiles. And we saw what brands like Stance Socks and Herschel backpacks, category-specific brands were doing. So it was super exciting to kind of think about that. And it took a couple years of just talking, the three of us, to like understand, okay, can we do this? Can we quit our jobs? And what does that actually look like? Right when we launched Slowtide in October of 2015, like I was just about to have my first daughter, getting married, like everything was happening pretty quick. And to quit your job and to start from scratch is a pretty bold move. But we did it. We registered the name and found a factory and sent funds to a factory and hoped that towels came back. And we had our first order was 8 different designs. That was like 800 towels. And we did a launch in Venice Beach, the shop called General Admission that my good friends Damien and Gavin started. And it was complete success and kind of just kept doubling down every season afterwards. And we're coming on 9 years years in October, really 10 years next October. So,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm trying to think of any towel brand that I even knew of before Slowtide. It's like you went to Target to buy your towels. There wasn't really any, there for sure wasn't any good looking towels, but like there wasn't really.
Yeah, totally. And that was, one of the main reasons we started. We had so many friends that were super talented photographers and artists. And we wanted to give them a canvas to express themselves. Like, we look at our products as a form of self-expression. It's like, if you like a certain artist or a certain photographer or a certain print or a certain band, you can express yourself by, being at the beach or through your home, through our different textiles and prints. So, there was nothing like it at the time. There's definitely more competition now. But it's super exciting to kind of like carve out our own path and have our own lifestyle around it.
Yeah. Tell me about the slogan, the art of drying.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of going back to like the whole concept was just based on art. Like, it is a perfect canvas for art. And the way we print and weave our towels, you can produce any photograph or piece of art. And, we've worked with artists like Keith Haring. We're going to be working with like Henry Matisse, and there's different photographers, Mark Gonzalez and Todd St. John. There's just so many different people we've worked with. That just tying it all back to art and drying off. I know now we've expanded to blankets in different categories that aren't specific for drying you off. Working on the taglines.
Oh, okay, got it. Well, actually, I went to you guys' event at the Skull Candy offices.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And it literally did, you guys set it up and it felt like an art gallery. It felt like a museum.
So, exactly. Yeah. We're super proud of that. And I think like a big part of our brand is being able to give back to the arts as well. And, that specific event was all the funds were donated to charity. So yeah, it's just nice to like work with local artists and then be able to give back. And it makes us feel good as founders, but all of our staff and the community around us. I mean, it's hard to run your own thing, but at the end of the day, you got to really think like, why are you doing it? What's the end goal and what's the purpose and how can you help your community?
Yeah. And does that kind of tie into Slowtide Creative Canvas Art Contest?
It does. Yeah. I mean, Creative Canvas Art Contest is really just like showcasing up and coming artists and how do we get more artists to like submit their art and get inspired by art and become artists. Even when we do like an artist collaboration, we're really trying to interview, how did you get into art? What was your inspiration behind it? And how do you inspire like the future generations in art? The Creative Canvas Art Contest is really based on social media. So you can like upload your own artwork or photography to Instagram and use that hashtag. And then you get a chance to win a prize each year. We usually run the contest in August every year. So that'll be coming up shortly here.
Yeah, I think this episode will come out in August. So that's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your role, which I know finding collaborations is part of it, which is really awesome and exciting because there's so many incredible collaborations that you've curated.
Yeah, collaborations is a big part of the role. And then, how we produce different photo shoots, working with different talented photographers, models, storytelling aspects, and just like overall big partnerships. We do all the towels for like the Ace Hotel and Auto.
Oh, wow.
We've done stuff with Kith and Palace Skateboards. And there's just a lot of things we've done over the years through our relationships and through kind of being the best in class towel makers, that a lot of brands are coming to us now to create towels with them, like co-branded. Sometimes we sell them through our channels and sometimes they're sold through other channels. We just did all the towels for like Liquid Death recently. It was cool.
No way.
They're like such amazing marketers. So yeah, great to just partner with different people and tell new stories. But yeah, my role is also focused on just campaign creation, where a seasonal photo shoot would be, what photographers we're going to be working with, how we're telling stories around that. And it's kind of ever changing. We're trying to like reinvent the brand. And as the brand's almost 10 years old, like we've kind of aged with the brand as well. And, have families and homes and what do we want in our homes and how does the brand kind of age with us and become more refined and elevated. So that's been exciting. And just looking at new product categories, we launched kitchen towels recently. We have like an oversized throw blanket that's just massive. Nice. It's like 60 each. So yeah, it's always fun to come up with new products and work with the team.
So you guys come up with new products based on what like your personal lives and
personal lives and what we want, and then talking to our staff. And then we do an annual customer survey, and we get a lot of feedback there on, what our customers want from us. So that's always interesting to see like what type of feedback that is. And then a lot of it is collaborations too. Like, we've worked with the Grateful Dead for a long time. We do towels with like Wu-Tang and different artists. So like if someone likes Grateful Dead, what's the other music group they're going to like? Or if they like Wu-Tang, what's the next one? So yeah, music is a big part of what we do. We actually activate at Ohana Festival every year in Doheny, which is super fun. It's Eddie Vedder's festival, and we do all the towels for them and have a booth. And yeah, it's really, really cool to have our brand part of such a rad music festival right in our backyard.
Yeah, you said auto camp, and I just that's like my dream to go there. I'm dying to go to the one in Yosemite, but I can totally picture your Slowtide's towels being there. Everything that you mentioned, it just fits so perfectly. Ace Hotel, like all those things.
Totally.
Are you the one going out there and like making all those different partnerships?
I help. We have a Summer. One of our staff does an amazing job with partnerships. But yeah, a lot of it is through our connections in the industry over the years, and then like word of mouth. But yeah, that's big part of my role is like overall brand partnerships.
So how do you come up with the collaborations? Because the bands that you mentioned are awesome. Do you have any coming up that you want to mention, or?
We have the Rolling Stones coming up. That's
very cool.
Very exciting one, and they're touring right now. So that's an exciting one that actually won't launch till next year. But that's super exciting. The Grateful Dead stuff does super well. We just launched Bob Marley this summer, which was super exciting. My partner and I, Wiley, went out to Jamaica and shot there, which was great. We hung out with all the locals, and yeah, had a great tour guide, did some surfing over there, and shot with, we actually ended up being guest judges of a local skate contest in Jamaica.
No way.
Actually donating 1% of all sales back to that skate park. So it's nice to have like a charity component and give back when we're shooting campaigns internationally as well.
That's awesome. And tell me a little bit about Good 360, the other charitable aspect of your company.
Yeah, so Good 360 helps us actually donate some of our products. So if we have like excess inventory, where are those products going to? Whether it's like, we had a huge give back because Hawaii, both my partners, Kyle and Wiley, live in Hawaii. They both grew up in Maui, and the fires that happen in Maui, there's a huge need for towels and blankets. So yeah, we're donating back actual products. There's different homeless shelters throughout LA that need those products, even going down to like animal shelters as well. So yeah, just making homes for some of those products. And if we have that inventory, it's just beneficial. And Good 360 really just helps find the organizations to disperse the products in the best usage.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then can you talk a little bit about the sustainability efforts? Was that something that you guys did from the very beginning, or did that kind of come as you went?
Yeah, we started from the beginning. I think more and more, like as our supply chain has gotten more refined, it's gotten better and better throughout the years, especially as we, have a bigger team and have more resources to look into that and to fulfill that need. But yeah, we use a Cotton Leads program for sourcing all of our cotton. And then we have all of our microfibers are made from recycled plastic bottles. So all of our quick dry towels is 8 to 10 post-consumer waste plastic bottles. So yeah, it's super exciting. It's nice to have that. There's so much development in terms of using textiles, and every year there's something new to do. So it's always nice to research. We're working towards becoming a B Corp as well. So that's kind of a long process, but that's super exciting just to have your company all based around that.
Oh, what's B Corp?
It's a benefit corporation. So it's essentially your entire organization has a mission around it, and your registration, and it's a certifying body like bcorp.com. So yeah, check it out.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, is there anything coming out soon for listeners that they should keep an eye out for? Any events? I know we mentioned a couple things, but anything else that you want to mention? Yeah,
we're looking to bring back some of our art shows, the event that you went to Costa Mesa. So yeah, we're looking to do those in a couple new locations. Our Creative Canvas art contest will be coming back this summer. So look for that on our social media. Check out some of our products this summer. Now's the time to be laying on the beach and enjoying some of our textiles. So yeah, appreciate it. I know this is kind of a quick conversation, but yeah, appreciate you having me on, and yeah, stoked to be here.
Thank you. Well, I have three final questions for you before I let you go, called the Thoughtful Three. So first, you guys came up with such a niche idea, and it's obviously been very successful. What advice would you give to an entrepreneur who's just starting out?
I would say one of the ones is kind of an interesting one. One is just don't take no for an answer. It's just a not now. Even going back to a lot of our collaborations, like when we first launched the brand, it's like, oh, we want to work with the Ace Hotel. It's like, that's a no when in 2015, but like you have that vision and you slowly work towards it and start building your brand, and they come around. It all comes around. And as long as you're persistent and have a long vision, but it's more of a not now, not a no for a lot of those things. And then I'd almost transition that to number two, being like, as a brand, as you grow, learning how to say no and not say yes to everything. So like, that's the thing. You say so many yeses and then you're just doing too much. And I think that's a big goal for myself as a co-founder. And you hear that a lot through a lot of my colleagues. It's just like, how do you say no and how do you refine your focus?
Yeah, that seems really challenging. I'm very much a yes person. What characteristics do you think that have helped you become successful?
Kind of going back to that last answer, persistence, and relentlessness. I think like the never give up, and having co-founders that have that same mentality, like Slowtide is our baby and failure is not an option. And I think the three of us are so invested, and it's really rare, even when we take a step back, like going into 9 years and having two co-founders, the three of us working together so well and having a great relationship beyond just work is pretty amazing. It's not easy to do. It's like having multiple marriages. So yeah, I think having like-minded people you're working with is super helpful. So you make it fun.
Definitely. And then lastly, what is the best advice that you personally received when you were starting out?
Oh, let's see. My best personal. I'd kind of go back to the Tom Holbrook reference. Is just like relationships really matter, and face to face is so important. Even at the Quiksilver days, we would visit every store and, bring coffee or donuts or take them out to lunch or, snap a photo with the store, but even and report back to everyone else of like, this is what our brand looks like in these locations, and just how important a road trip is. And how you came to our in-person event, like doing in-person events, that stuff really matters and it really resonates. And I think it's all part of your marketing mix. But I think, to truly connect with a consumer or partner, you need to have some face-to-face connection.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I had so much fun getting to talk with you.
Yeah, likewise, Chelsea. Really appreciate it.
Awesome.